Your leadership is going to be tested. And the ability to make bold moves when the path isn't clear is what separates your reactive managers from like a visionary leader. Most entrepreneurs don't fail because they make the wrong decision. Most fail because they make no decision. And momentum's going to favor the founder who moves, the decision maker, the leader. They think decisive leadership means being fearless or reckless. But decisive leadership is not about blind courage. It's about grounded confidence. Courage is the decision to move despite fear. And, great leaders understand that uncertainty is just a signal. It tells them not to stop, but to step up and understand that discomfort is just a cost of the best opportunities that are in front of you. Bold moves come from your identity, not from information. All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And this week, we're going to step into the next level of leadership. Let's talk about influence, connection, decisive action. I want to teach you how to trust your intuition, build authentic authority, and create relationships that are going to open up doors and opportunities. So today, we're going to get into specifically characteristics of powerful leaders that right at the top of the list include decisiveness. Now, in business and in life, opportunities rarely present themselves in total certainty. You know this because of the decisions that, change your life or ones that you need to pursue. You need to take risks. You need to have investments and things that you follow through on without all of the information. But decisions you make without full clarity and without full information, without, guaranteed outcomes, those are the decisions that are going to determine your level of leadership. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. Your leadership is going to be tested. And the ability to make bold moves when the path isn't clear is what separates your reactive managers from like a visionary leader. And it's really what separates entrepreneurs who grow from entrepreneurs that are stuck. So let's talk a little bit about how to lead decisively and how to take bold action. Now, as you know, if this is your first time listening, I've been building global brands for 20 years. I've learned, and I don't say that to impress you, I say it to really impress upon you that I've been able to learn from a lot of the biggest and best thought leaders out there. And one of the things that I've found are common to really high-level thought leaders is decisive leadership. It's the ability to make decisions versus being indecisive. And it's, when you hesitate, you lose momentum. And when you overthink, you lose clarity. So when you wait for certainty, you miss all these opportunities. And that's why this topic is so important. Most entrepreneurs don't fail because they make the wrong decision. Most fail because they make no decision. And momentum's going to favor the founder who moves, the decision maker, the leader, that takes imperfect action or gathers feedback and adjusts and just executes. And bold moves that move you forward are always made by people who understand clarity comes from action, not before. You've probably heard me say that before. Most of us are looking for clarity, but action is what's going to give you clarity. So, here's what most people get wrong. They think decisive leadership means being fearless or reckless. But decisive leadership is not about blind courage. It's about grounded confidence. It's your level of confidence that we've been talking about for the last week or so. It's the understanding that even, with imperfect action made, with conviction, it's better than perfect hesitation that you make, with fear. Indecision creates doubt in your team, and it's going to come through. Indecision, slows your progress, and indecision kills your innovation. So leaders that make the biggest impact are the ones willing to move when everyone else is waiting around. And there's a bit of a psychology, of how to deal with uncertainty and why most people usually freeze. This is something that I've even experienced in my life. Let's talk about why decision-making feels hard in the first place. Our brains are wired to seek safety, predictability, and control. So uncertainty is going to trigger this fear. This is why entrepreneurs hesitate, even when the opportunity maybe is right in front of them. They fear losing money. They fear failing or being judged or choosing the wrong path. But the truth is, uncertainty is not a problem. Uncertainty is not what your problem is that you have, I guess is a better way to say it. It's a condition of growth. Every major breakthrough you have in your life came when you were unclear about stuff. Think about it. Your brain's always going to try to talk you out of bold moves. It wants comfort. It wants, specifics. But your future requires courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move despite fear. And, great leaders understand that uncertainty is just a signal. It tells them not to stop, but to step up and understand that discomfort is just a cost of the best opportunities that are in front of you. So most people freeze because they believe they need clarity, but leaders move because they know that clarity is going to come after. I hope that makes sense. It's really, really important for you to understand that. So what can you do? Let me give you a couple of suggestions. Number one, make decisions based on principles, not pressure. Pressure always creates reactive decisions. Principles, they'll help you to create consistent decisions. Principle-based decisions mean that you define your values ahead of time, your priorities and your outcomes, what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then decide from that place. When you have that clarity around your principles, your decisions are going to be much better. You can ask yourself, like, does this align with my vision? Does it support my long-term goals? Does it reflect the leader that I want to be? When you make decisions based on your principles, at a minimum, your choices become clearer, and they're guided by your identity, not by emotion. It's really hard when you make decisions based on pressure. So the second suggestion I have for you is use that 70% rule for speed. Waiting for 100% certainty is going to give you zero progress. High-level leaders like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, even the military, they use what's called the 70% rule. If you have 70% of the information, take action. The remaining 30% is going to reveal itself once you're in flow, once you're moving. And, look, perfection is the enemy of momentum. You know that. So speed is actually the key to success. And when you work closely with 70% of the information, the rest is going to come about. The last suggestion I have is, and this is a really tough one for a lot of people, just make the decision one time. I've had that, you've got to commit fully to your decisions is the point here. Most of the stress doesn't come from making the decision. It comes from the constant reevaluating the decision you already made. So when you choose, commit. Stop revisiting and second guessing. Like I said before, it's not right or wrong answer. It's decisiveness. Once a decision's made, all your energy needs to go into it. And what you're going to find is that decisive leaders actually make things happen. And so it's very important that when you make a decision, just make it once. Now, I really want you to trust your gut. Your intuition is not random. It's built from years of experience. And so when you trust your gut, you're going to be able to make those decisions and you'll be able to move forward with, like I said, 70% of the information and then just be resolved to it. But, accept that not deciding is going to be a bigger risk than making a decision, and that'll help you also push yourself forward. The last thing I would kind of suggest for you is learn to lean into, just lean into your courage. Bold decisions require you to be bold. And so, when you know that you can move forward with courage, allow yourself the grace to just understand that you're making a good decision because it's based on your ability to be decisive, if that makes sense. I really think at the end of the day, if you can focus on this principle of being decisive in leadership, you are going to go a long way and you're going to grow in a very significant way as a leader. So let me just leave you with kind of the takeaways from this episode. Decisiveness is a leadership multiplier. Your decisions, when you're decisive, you're going to create momentum, confidence, clarity, and for you and everyone else around you, it's going to multiply your efforts. So be decisive. Hesitation is going to kill anything as far as opportunity and growth that you have. Second, you don't need certainty to make bold moves. You need courage. Clarify your values and what you want to accomplish, and then just use that clarity and your courage to make decisions. Because leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. And, the final thought I want you to take away from this episode is bold moves come from your identity, not from information. When you decide from the future version of yourself, that you are the leader you want to be and you make those decisions are going to start to come easier, faster, and more aligned. And when you operate from the version of yourself you're creating, that's going to help you to be more decisive. So that's my message for today. I hope that as a leader and someone listening to this podcast and trying to grow, that you will learn and plan and practice being a decisive leader. That's my message. And I hope that it'll challenge you, maybe encourage you to be more specific with what you're doing and to stick to your gut, but also realize that outside your comfort zone is where some of your greatest growth is going to come. So I hope you have an amazing week this week. We're going to be talking about some great topics around leadership, and I'm going to be introducing several really amazing interviews that we had the opportunity to have. We got to sit down with multiple New York Times bestselling authors. We also sat down and had some conversations with some major thought leaders that you're going to recognize. So remember one last thing before we leave. It's never too late to start living the life you're meant to live, but you've got to take action. You've got to move forward. I appreciate you being with me here on the podcast. Make sure you share it with people that you know and hit me up. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know what you're struggling with or what you're winning at. Let's celebrate some wins, and I'll look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. Have an amazing day.